Hey folks, welcome back. I'm Eddie G, DM Fumble, and this is another episode of Fumbling Around, where I look at all things related to Dungeons and Dragons or whatever actually interests me at the moment. Today, I just noticed that the next stage for the LEGO Dungeons and Dragons contest begins. So, based on all the previous submissions, they've whittled it down to 5 top choices, and those are the ones that fans can now vote on to see which one will become a set in the near future. So, I'll put a link in the show notes where you can go and see those sets and make your choice. But in the meantime, let's look at the 5 contenders that we have for the first ever LEGO Dungeons and Dragons set. So now I want to go over and actually look at each of the options that we can vote on in a little bit more detail. So first I'm going to start off with the Dragon's Keep set. And this is a quite large set. This comes in at about 3,000 pieces by its initial design and has a lot of function and features built into it. We've got some castle area. We've got a little inn area, nice hunky tree. And this is the only one of the sets that's actually designed as a play set. So we can see a lot of play features and play areas in the front of the set. And as we look at the behind the area, we have a nice little dungeon with a beholder creature in the background or underneath. So we can see some of the other minifigures that are included in the set. This is, like I said, quite a large set and has some very interesting building techniques with some bricks on an angle, goes up quite large. This definitely looks like it'll be a fun time to build this set with a lot of, like I said, a lot of play features. It'll be interesting to see how closely LEGO keeps to this design. Even though this is the design that was fan submitted, LEGO does always reserve the right to make modifications and changes, either for price considerations or for structure and stability, as they've done in the past. So I do like this design. Lastly, we have a nice big picture of the green dragon that we have here. Wonderful articulation on the arms and legs and tail. This looks like something you could easily pull off of the set and put into your game as a huge or colossal green dragon. Definitely like the way this is built. Lastly, we have a final shot of the beholder as well as the hopefully group of heroes that will be forging through the dungeon in search of treasure and glory, and hopefully stay alive from that beholder creature. The next set we have up here is called Monster Manual. And the idea here is that we have a display piece that is the Monster Manual opened to a spread and all manner of creatures popping out for you to see. We can easily identify Demogorgon in the background as well as a red dragon. We've got a nice beholder in the middle. Of course, that's supposed to be Xanathar. There's a mimic there on the lower side. We've got a guy on a black horse, clearly a nightmare, so we're thinking that's Strahd, and that's what it says in the description, actually. The woman at the table is supposed to be the Witch Queen Tasha. Clearly, maybe they'll do a little bit more modification to make her look a little bit better or more closer to other images of Tasha. That little green thing is supposed to be a gelatinous cube, but A, gelatinous cubes aren't usually green, and B, they're usually not that small, so it's a nice little add-on, but again, it doesn't feel like it really matches the assertion that these are creatures you could easily put into your own gameplay. That's a little too small for a gelatinous cube. But overall, I like the design of it. My biggest problem here is that you have this 2-page spread that you're supposed to lay down and position your creatures on top of it, but they actually went to the trouble of making a design for the cover. You can see here in this one picture that we've got a beholder, which again is supposed to match the Monster Manual cover, and more treatment that again is supposed to look like that. But you're never really going to see this because you're going to have this down probably laying flat and your pop-up figures on top of it. So it's a lot of extra effort for something that's not going to really have much value, I think. So let's move on to another one. Next, I want to look at the Tiamat's Dice Tower. And this is going to be just what it says. It's going to be a dice tower. But it's a really nice design in that we've got a tower and a courtyard, which you know what those are going to be for. But we also have it wrapped around with a large, very large brick-built version of Tiamat. All of her heads are there, present and accounted for. Got a nice wingspan. Definitely gives a certain presence to it. And at the base of the tower here, we've got a couple of intrepid different heroes that are about to hopefully survive the encounter with the five-headed dragon goddess. Other pictures give us a little bit more close-up of what they look like. Nice armor and shields and so forth. Nice little brick-built hammer for the dwarf. And then we get a top-down view of what the dice tower will look like. So we can see where you drop your dice and the courtyard where the dice will appear and roll out from. Nice little feature. They've got little hidden functions hiding all around the tower, in that we can see places where you can hide the little stands for the figure, little ways to make them stand up and not fall over on your game table if you're going to use it like that. And it's really specific that they've done that. You can see they're using what's basically a 3x3 brick, and that's the perfect size to fit into a 1-inch D&D grid if you're using battle mats and things like that. We can also see a place where you can store weapons, so that whatever accessories the heroes aren't using at the moment, or maybe it's the Dragon Queen's Horde, can be stashed off to the side there for other use. So overall, I do like this. I could see this as being something you keep at your home game and use it during the sessions. Not really something to lug around because it is quite large, but definitely a nice piece that I would gladly have in my collection of Lego and Dungeons and Dragons. The next set I want to look at is the Mimic. So the Mimic here is just basically a large treasure chest, brick built from top to bottom, and it has a nice little plaque. A lot of Lego sets will include a plaque that identifies what it is, usually spaceships, and gives it some stats about it or whatever. In this case, we have one that identifies it as a treasure chest and gives the stats for an inanimate object, as you would find it in the appropriate Dungeon Master's Guide. Then, as we transform it into the Mimic by, popping a few little, rotating a few little sections of it and making things pop out, we can see that stand will also flip over, and now we have the full stats for the Mimic creature, again as 5e stats. So that's kind of neat to have that. Also, the Mimic top of it opens up, and we've got more dreaded teeth and horrific tongue there, as you would expect from that type of creature. This is a nice little build. I could see it being maybe a little repetitive, building the same parts of the roof and so forth. But I think the end result is definitely a nice piece that we have here. So that is the fourth of 5 options that we have. Okay, now we come to the last of the options that you can vote on for the first ever Lego Dungeons & Dragons set. This one is called Xanathar the Beholder, and we've got everyone's favorite Beholder behind a desk, and he has a bookshelf right next to him. At first glance, this is just a fun-looking little build. We can see some things like a little 5-headed dragon hiding there in one of the bookshelves. Some other little things, treasure chest, a stand for the book, and so forth. Candelabra, and clearly we can see his favorite fishbowl right there on his desk. But this only gives you a hint of what actually is in this set. The next picture here, we can see Xanathar actually has a little mechanism behind him that we can use to make that central eye move left and right, which is just a wonderful feature. He also has a really nice built stand that is made out of clear brick, so we can see him floating wherever he goes. Also, those eye stalks are posable. I can see that they've got the posable joints there, so another nice little addition for everyone's favorite beholder. Next, we come to the bookcase. And I thought this was just a great little bookcase with some, books and other little features and so forth. But I was amazed when I realized and found out here from this picture that this is actually doubling as a dice tower. Open up the top, open up the bottom doors, and the internal mechanism hiding behind all these books and so forth is where you can roll your dice and see the results come out the bottom. And this is a wonderful, wonderful feature. Along the same lines, I was surprised to see that the desk is not just a clump that's just sitting there for Xanathar to hide behind, but in fact actually is a place for you to put your dice. So it serves as a dice carrier. And it's also nice and portable. You can easily take that dice carrier with you, and even the dice tower, the bookshelf dice tower, to games that you're going to, which is, again, something you can't do with the Tiamat dice tower. In this case, you can carry these with you. And again, great little accessories, the candelabra and so forth. Just a fun little build. I have to admit, this is my favorite of the 5 I've seen, and this is the one I will be voting for when I go over to the site and cast my vote. And with that, we looked at all 5 of the submissions. Which one is your favorite? Leave a comment below. And if you've made it to the end of this video, please consider doing the whole like and subscribe thing to help the channel grow. And if you follow me on social, I am DM Fumble, drop the E, on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching.